Right here. It says right here in this account we have $401,000. You missed it.
Nope. That says you have a 401k account. If you liquidate that right now, you'll have, maybe $5,000.
So what happened to the other $396,000?
Boom.
Gotcha.
What is wrong with the two of you?
Boom, gotcha. That is a character that played by Will Ferrell in the movie The House. Something that you think that you have a 401k and you say, I've got a retirement plan, but that's not necessarily the case. First of all, big Will Ferrell fans, you guys?
He's hit and miss with me. Sometimes he's hilarious. Sometimes I don't like the straight up stupidity that he does, but some of it, sometimes he is just wet your pants funny. Too much cowbell.
Too much cowbell.
You never have too much cowbell.
And then has anyone ever said, hey, I've got $401,000 with this 401k? No one's ever been that crazy.
I haven't experienced that, but I have experienced it in the situation where people don't understand how to read their 401ks and think they do have more money than they do because they're looking at shares as opposed to actual dollar values, that type of thing. So I've had that happen.
But is it a misconception, too, that because I've heard this in my circle of friends, well, I've got a 401k. So they automatically think that that's a retirement plan. But
a 401k isn't a retirement plan into itself, right? I mean, a plan is a plan. A 401k is just a vessel, it's just a tool, or where you can save money. And our experience has been is that unfortunately, most people have never been told. Most people are never shared with when they're starting the 401ks because you're young, you start the 401k and everybody tells you put money in there. Maybe you're lucky and your employer does some sort of match, and the 401k has some advisor on it, but unfortunately most of those advisors never show up to give you any advice. So people are kind of going into it with little to no knowledge. Maybe they talk to their parents, maybe they talk to some of their friends at work about what is it you do, right? Because we're all alike and we all have the same needs. But the fact is that unfortunately, people really aren't exposed to all the information they need to make those sound choices. Yes, putting money into the 401k is a great idea, but that's not the plan. The plan is how are we going to get to retirement? How much do we need to save? And the 401k can be part of it. But do you put it in the traditional 401k where you're going to have this compounding growth with the compounding ensuing taxes that you have to pay when you take the money out? How are you going to convert that 401k into an income stream? Are you going to need an income stream? Do you have a pension? How much money do you need to put into the 401k? Should it be after-tax dollars so you're putting into the Roth so you have tax-free income during retirement to couple with your Social Security and maybe your pension? And unfortunately, what happens is nobody sits down and guides the younger investors. And quite frankly, nobody guides the 40 and 50 and 60-year-olds. They literally have to go to dinner seminars. They listen to our radio show. And it's at that point, usually 5 to 10 years out from retirement, when people, this light bulb goes off and they have this aha moment. It's like, well, do I have enough? Am I close? Am I near? And quite honestly, if you're having those types of thoughts, and if you're thinking to yourself, am I on the right path? Do I actually have a plan? And the reality is you probably don't. You have an idea, you've thought it through, you might have talked to somebody, but without having a sound plan that addresses how am I going to create my income? Because you don't put money in a 401k just to have it grow. You put it in there because you're going to use it later. So how am I going to create my income? How's it going to be tax efficient? How am I going to have the right amount of growth that I want through my retirement, taking the least amount of risk necessary to accomplish whatever my goals are going to be? What does my estate plan look like? How much am I paying in fees? Because, folks, those 401ks are a lot more expensive than you think they are.
I want to spend a minute here on that. And then, Ryan, I've got a question for you to follow up on that, and that is the website. The 401k X-ray in this particular case, as we're talking about it here. Folks can go on to your website, thesavvyinvestorradio.com, and this really takes a lot of the obligation out because they can go on the website, thesavvyinvestorradio.com, click on the 401k X-ray, and they can basically look at your calendar and put some time on for a 15-minute phone conversation on their schedule. So a lot of people are taking advantage of that, by the way. That is thesavvyinvestorradio.com, thesavvyinvestorradio.com, and click on the 401k X-ray button. So, Ryan, as we're talking about this, the 401k X-ray, this is a powerful tool that you guys can show people how their 401k is doing, what's in their 401k, and a lot of people may not even know that, but it really is a great deep dive into our 401ks that our eyes are really going to be opened on a lot of things.
Well, it's not just the 401k. One of the things that we do when we run this analysis is we look at all of your accounts. If you have IRAs, you have Roth accounts, you have non-IRA accounts, you have brokerage accounts. What we're doing is we're taking a look at the actual holdings that you have, because most people that come into the office, we have the same conversation that you'll have with most financial advisors, where we're talking about risk, but it's talking about risk more from the perspective of how much risk do you think you want to have. Most people say, I'm moderate, or I'm an aggressive investor, something like that. But then when Mike and our team, and myself and Lawrence, when we sit down and we're looking at our 401k analyzer, we're looking at the portfolio analysis, what we're looking at specifically is the individual holdings that are inside of all those accounts. Because you might think that, I have my money in 20 different funds. I have it in all these different stocks. I have it in all these different mutual funds. I'm following the process.
And I just want to interject real quick. I just met with somebody the other day. 331 holdings in the 401k.
That sounds like a lot. So is that a lot?
That's insane.
Okay.
That is insane. I mean, she literally had, 2 shares of this, 1 share of that. I think what it was the advisor on the 401k bought one of every stock he could find on the S&P 500. It was just insane.
I mean, how do you even keep track of that?
I have no idea. It was insane. 330 plus stocks.
That's extreme. I've never seen something that high. I've seen like 200 across a whole bunch of different accounts. But what a lot of people don't realize is, I have my 401k with T. Rowe, or I have my 401k with Vanguard or Fidelity or whomever it happens to be, and then I'm choosing these mutual funds. I'm buying them from
and you
PIMCO.
Can't see this, but I just threw up when he said mutual funds. I'm sorry.
I'm buying funds from PIMCO. I'm buying funds from T. Rowe. I'm buying from Vanguard. I'm buying funds from all these different companies because I'm following that process of, I don't want to have all my eggs in one basket. But what people don't exactly think about, they don't realize, is those mutual funds, while they may be from all these different companies, so you have diversification because it's all these different companies, but the underlying stocks and bonds that these mutual funds own can be the exact same thing. And it's the overlap. It's called correlation. It's something that we look at in this analyzer, where we're showing you, okay, you have this fund from T. Rowe Price, but you also own this particular fund from Vanguard, and they own 98% of the exact same thing. So any movement in the stock market affects these 2 particular mutual funds that you have in the exact same way. And what Mike and myself and our team here at Procetus, what we're trying to do with this analyzer is show you, here's where all of this overlap is, and here's how much more risk you're taking on inside of your portfolio by having it. But showing you the way to get rid of all that overlap and have the proper amount of risk in the portfolio, taking on as much risk as you need to take to accomplish your goal, because everybody always focuses on, with your 401k, I want to hit a magic number.
Right.
I want to hit $1 million. I want to hit $1.5 million. If I go to the park and I find that string and I grab the string, I run to the end of it, it tells me what my retirement number is. Everybody focuses on that. Every financial advisor you meet with focuses on growing the money, but you are growing the money for a purpose, and that purpose is retirement. You want to have conversations about, here's how much I've grown my money, here's how hard I've saved, but how do I turn that number into an income stream that my spouse and I can never outlive in retirement? How can we get that income stream to have that lifestyle that we want to have in retirement? And that really is what that 401k X-ray and income analyzer do for you. It shows you, here's how much risk you're taking, and here are the steps that we need to take from here on out to get you to, through, in retirement without outliving your money.